Right, let's try and make this a bit snappy because we're supposed to be onto a briefing already. So we're on to item 9, the Suburban Regeneration Biannual Update Report. So we've got, is it Martin and Miranda?
Carolyn.
That's not what it says here. Cool. So, and I didn't look at who it is. But did you want to speak to your report?
Kia ora. My name is Martin from the Urban Regeneration team. I'd like to take the report as read, but just a reminder that this is a report from the period of April to September, written at the beginning of September, so things may have progressed from there, but my colleagues and I are available to answer any questions that you may have.
All right. I've got a first question. Can you advise about what consideration has been given to aligning the Woolston Village project with the master plan with the Heathcote and Oak Street projects?
Hello, Joshua Neville from the Urban Regeneration team. So the WL1 is the Woolston Streetscape upgrade, and I will caveat this in that we don't have full overview of funding decision as well as delivery. They sit with the capital program team. But the Woolston Streetscape upgrade doesn't foreclose any actions on WL2. In fact, it's been incorporated to allow that to proceed at a later date. Following the adoption of the Woolston Streetscape upgrade, and subsequently moving into the delivery stage, the council deferred the funding of that to later years. This project is a significant cost, it's 1.9 million, and some of the project rationale has changed since the adoption of the master plan back in 2012. That rationale around the land use that was surrounding Heathcote and Oak Street has changed. We were expecting a more mixed use land, and now that's more industrial. And then we also don't fully understand yet what impact on parking implications WL1 will have before we go ahead and deliver WL2. So some thought was given to, is there significant benefits that will outweigh not delivering this at that stage? We're hoping that delivering a fantastic streetscape down in Woolston, what we're going to see is a lot less parking demand than what we have seen in the past, or similar parking demand, and this project may be able to be rescoped downwards to a more affordable solution.
So I think the take-home message there is that the Woolston WL1 going ahead does not foreclose getting the good outcomes and good connections and links for the Heathcote and Oaks project when the funding is available in the future. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Pauline.
Thank you. A question on 3.4 on page 63. It's regarding the Edgware Village Master Plan. Now, you'll be aware that it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago where the community actually requested that no further upheaval be commenced in Edgware Village because they'd had such a lot of earthquake repair. The roads have been dug up several times. One of the main sewer lines runs straight through the intersection there, plus Edgware Madras was closed for about 2 years after the earthquakes. It had a big economic impact on the commercial sector there, and then the Papanui Parallel went through, and you can understand they'd had enough. So we deferred the master plan by agreement, but there was 2 things came out of that. The board requested that some money be retained out of that for works that could be done that were not upsetting works, and they could be part of the master plan. So I'm wanting to know how much that was, how much of it has been spent and on what. And also in 3.4, one of the things that was agreed upon, and this is about 2 years ago easily, was to light 1 tree. It still hasn't been done, and now it says should be done by the end of this year. it's just, what is the hold up with that tree? So there's 3 questions there that I'd really like to be
need the
addressed.
Edgeware specialist to come and join us at the table.
Edgeware Village Specialist. Thank you. Hi.
Good morning, John Scanlon, Urban Regeneration team. I could answer your question. I think the question came up at the recent board meeting as well. So the update on the light, I believe it's an uplighting of the tree next to the supermarket there.
Is it a light on the ground shining up into the tree?
Correct.
Oh, I think that people wanted fairy lights in the tree.
I understand that was the preferred option. There were a number of reasons why that couldn't be done. It's a private tree on private land, whereas the solution of the uplighting is can be located on public land, connects up to the power sites vector, and then light the tree from the public land. I believe there's been some hold up in acquiring the light for that project from overseas. I believe it's en route to New Zealand now as we speak. So that is due to go in.
Okay, thank you for the update, because we've been asking about these lights for 2 years, and that's the first I've ever heard that this is the option that's been selected, which was totally contrary to what the community wanted. And the other 2 questions you can reply by a memo if that's fine, you don't have to do it now. And the other one I have is page 66, where you've got a gold star there, what looks a bit like the one I got on my yellow bin, but anyway. The community-led revitalisation plans, and Edgeware Village has got an incredibly strong community leading their own plans in there, and I'd really like to see that recognised, because it's their idea to have the tree lit, and I think they'll probably will just go out and throw some solar-powered fairy lights in it now. They have organised the planters there in the village. Well, it was going to be a powered one.
So just to note about the map is the regeneration heat map that you've seen. Those community-led regeneration projects, Little River and Diamond Harbour, you identified in a previous LTP, I think it was, to allocate funding specifically to those 2 communities for community-led regeneration, and that's been done.
So these are ones with funding tagged to them?
Yes.
Okay, so if a community such as the village there wanted to attract any funding, they would put in an official, a business case or something, and
Well, this is the way that we're identifying the communities where that particular approach has been rolled out for now. This is I guess this is an evolving, regeneration is always an evolving thing. And so that's the way we are identifying communities around the city now, but I recognise that that's something that your point about what's happening in Edgeware, we may need to think about how we put a notation around that in the future.
Yeah, that's a good direction. We'll pick that up at the community board. Thanks, Carolyn.
Yeah. Yep, Mike.
Thank you. Just on the light, because it's first I've heard of it as well, becoming an uplight instead of what I think the community thought it was going to be. I think it's really important that we actually have because it's a very strong community in Edgeware Village. I think it's really important. Have we had that conversation with the community about actually this change in approach? I'd hate to go down a pathway that it's actually different than what they're expecting.
Was that the conversation's been had at the community board?
No, with the community itself.
There has been discussion around the issues with lighting a tree via the lights in the tree option. There's some issues around it being a private tree on private land.
With a willing participant, the willing owner, he's really...
So can I take this offline and look and see what the options might be for us to support this? There may be some other routes that we can take. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because there seems to be, have we got any more questions other than Yanni and Tim? So we need to move into a briefing. If we can either make these really quick, or we could do a workshop or briefing about this. quick? Okay, all right. Tim, you can go first.
Thank you. With my very quick question, could we get an update? I see in this document it's got no update with regards to Selwyn Street, but if we could get an update of some kind, that would be really good for the community board. A memo or something to the staff would be great, because I know that community is just kind of wallowing and it's feeling pretty well left out. So, thank you.
I second that one, Tim. Liani?
Yeah, I just had two questions. One was just going back to Heathcote and Oak Street, like we had an LTP resolution to look at the synergy with the project for WL1. So basically that didn't happen, as best I understand. And so instead of actually bringing the budget forward or considering the synergy, the budget got pushed out. Is that basically what's happened?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's kind of frustrating because we've also got the Capital Acceleration Fund, which has identified those two streets as candidates. We've got contractors working there. Is there any way that we can get some thought into the design that would enable a contract variation while we've got contractors causing or doing the work with the WL1 to look at what improvements could be made?
So you're asking questions that are not urban regeneration questions, they're capital program
I mean, I think
questions.
this is
so
part of
perhaps
the
we could take this and
issue.
also work with staff to prepare some information to update you via a memo.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a
Yeah,
council
maybe
resolution from the
long-term
LTP,
plan
but we've
discussions.
also got the Capital Acceleration Fund stuff, which I've put through the board. The second question I had was, when I look at the regeneration heat map and then contrast that to where the budgets are being spent, it seems to not be aligned. It seems like the areas that have the highest need in terms of the regeneration heat map are the areas that have the lowest expenditure. So have you got any process underway to rebalance the funding priorities to respond to the regeneration heat map?
So you've also passed a resolution to identify that the Central City and in the current year and Linwood Village are the two priority areas. So within my team, because those are to some degree in planning stages, the funding that we have is directed to that. But we're also mindful that there are calls across the city for modest amounts of support. So there's a balance that we need to strike there as well. So the reporting doesn't necessarily reflect the complete effort that goes in. But be assured that the effort is the Central City and Linwood Village as per your resolution.
Right.
So,
Thank-
but
And in Bishopdale as well.
in terms of the table on page 71 with the funding, you say that change requests are approved throughout the year. So is there any change requests being done to recognise that, or is that separate process?
So these are also, sorry, page 71, did you say?
Yeah.
So those are master plans, and we have master plans, and we have the heat map regeneration priority areas. So we're working with decisions, planning and funding decisions that you've made in the past, and a decision on a regeneration heat map for your current regeneration priorities. So we're reporting on capital investment that you've already approved and planning decisions around regeneration that you've just approved this year.
Yeah, thanks, Carolyn. Do I have a mover for receiving the information? Mike, and a seconder. I saw Ian first, so Ian. Do we have any debate? Right, all those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Right, so number 10, the Safer Christchurch Strategy 2020